Okay, I'm going to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Education for Community Unit District 186. And Mrs. Hines, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bain?
Here.
Mr. Beavers?
Here.
Mrs. Brazel?
Here.
Mr. Green?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mrs. Evaldi?
Here.
Mr. Runge?
Here. Next item is Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Brown, would you be so kind?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 4 is the approval of the agenda. Dr. Evers, are there any changes, additions, corrections to the agenda? I'll entertain a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5 is the approval of the consent agenda, which consists of District 186 regular board meeting minutes dated 5/18/2021, Tri-County regular board meeting minutes dated 5/12/2021, Tri-County bills for June 2021, and the reports, and I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item number 6 is the approval of District 186 bills for June of 2021. And I'll open the floor to the board if they have any questions of Mrs. Bush.
I don't have a question about the validity of any of the charges, but I did notice that the energy and gas usage at the middle school is significantly higher even this time of the year, and I didn't know if that was because of the wintertime heating is equalized over the entire year, or
Typically, no, those are used, I mean, we're always in a little bit of a delay, and I think we have 2 bills on this schedule that we were behind one, so some of those could actually be
Okay.
catch up from those winter bills for the middle school.
okay. Because the 2 highest numbers are both for the middle school on that. And the other one is just on the copier contracts that one of the schools, I made a note and now I lost it. One of the schools was just significantly higher. Maybe
Probably
it was the
high
general
school.
or
I was
the
gonna
high
say
school.
there are a lot more copiers at the high school.
Okay.
And some of the other schools, some of the departments have their own copiers, and for example, the math department for I don't know how many years they were using a copier for their curriculum, so needed their own department. So.
Okay. I only bring that up just because I know there's always moments when you're like, okay, we need to re-audit our cell phone usage or our copier contracts or whatever contracts. Just making sure that we do that regularly, just so we know we're getting the best
And
deal.
usually when those copier contracts come up, we try to do at least as good as we did before, if not better. You know,
Sure.
for either a faster copy or more copies, or and we work with Modern Office on those, trying to keep that local on those copier contracts. And so they're in our buildings and working with our schools, so they know. At times they'll say this machine is supposed to have, it has 1 million copies or whatever it is on it. We're supposed to have another year on it, but I'm gonna buy that out. I'm gonna get you in a better place for less money or equal money, so we can kind of keep those things rolling, because those are things that we just cannot be down on. And when I first came here, we had other copy service that wasn't as local. So the service and then I just feel like those kind of go hand in hand, leasing those machines and then the care of those machines, and those copy contracts kind of go hand in hand, keeping that right here in our backyard.
I agree. Okay. Hello. Thank you.
But thank you for that.
Any other questions from the board? Then I will entertain a motion to approve the District 186 bills for June.
So second.
Mrs. Hines?
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Beavers?
Yes.
Mrs. Brazel?
Yes.
Mrs. Evaldi?
Yes.
Mr. Bain?
Yes.
Mr. Runge?
Yes, motion carries. Item number 7 is communications. Do we have any?
We do, we have 5. The first one is from Margie Smith. Dear Georgia, I'm resigning from my position as lunchroom monitor at Carruthers Elementary School. I'm moving out of state. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of the Carruthers staff. I've loved working with the kids, and my co-workers have become very good friends. I will miss you all and wish everyone all the best in this upcoming school year. Margie Smith.
And I'll entertain a motion to approve that resignation. Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
This one's from Miranda Sink. To whom it may concern, please accept this letter as my resignation as a school social worker at General John A. Logan. I would like to express my gratitude for the opportunity to begin my career as a school social worker in the Murphysboro CUSD 186. I communicated with Dr. Evers and Ms. Finke on 6/10/21 that I have taken an opportunity closer to home and will not be returning as an employee for the 21-22 school year. Sincerely, Miranda.
I'll entertain a motion to accept that resignation.
And she's moving to Frankfurt District, so closer to her home.
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
The next one is from Stephanie Lane. Mr. Navarra, Mr. Ellemeyer, and the CUSD 186 board. It has been such a blessing and a privilege to coach the junior varsity of Murphysboro High School. Unfortunately, I will not be coaching in this upcoming season. I have accepted a full-time position as an admissions representative at Judson University in Elgin, Illinois. I'm so thankful to all of you for your support, encouragement, and kindness throughout this past season. Murphysboro volleyball will always hold a special place in my heart. Blessings, Stephanie Lane.
And I'll entertain a motion to accept that resignation.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
This one's from Carolyn Nelson. Please accept this letter of resignation from my position as a paraprofessional. I have accepted a full-time position with Walmart. I have really appreciated my time with Carruthers School. It was a pleasure working with the kids, staff, teachers, Mr. Griswold, and Mr. Todd. I would like this transaction to go smooth. My last day will be Wednesday, May 19th, 2021. I would like to thank everyone for letting me be a part of the Carruthers family. Best wishes to all of you at Carruthers. Thank you, Carolyn Nelson.
And I'll entertain a motion to accept that resignation.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed, motion carries.
The last one is from Michael Marks. Dear Mr. Keener/Stroud, please accept this letter as notice of my resignation from my position of head coach of Murphysboro Middle School boys basketball. Yesterday completed open gyms, which followed our shortened season. I have been hired by Trico School District 176 as their high school varsity boys head coach. I'm excited to start a new chapter in coaching at a higher level. I'd like to say it's been an honor coaching for the middle school. I'll take away many memories both as a player and a coach. I can't express how easy it was to immediately fit into the Blue Devil family. I appreciate all the advice and support through the years. I will truly miss the staff and most importantly, being a Blue Devil. I prided myself in not only getting the boys to play hard on the court, but to become productive members in the community. I'm sure this culture will continue in the program. Prior to my leaving, I have provided Coach John Baker with necessary contact information to assist with the smooth transition. I believe if given the opportunity, he would make an excellent 8th grade head coach. I will be available if any questions should arise after my departure. Thank you for the opportunity to coach MMS boys basketball. I promise to keep in touch and will closely follow the progress of these boys. Sincerely, Michael Marks.
And I'll entertain a motion to accept that resignation.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. That's all.
That's it.
I do have just one communication. I will not be here in the July meeting. Yes. You're in the cable. I know.
You're in trouble now.
Yeah, don't dance on the table. Mr. Beavers will be in charge. All right. I see a fishbowl item down there.
You know they did that to you.
That's okay. SIUC, oh, this is from Miss Asa. SIUC River Regions Fellowship Summer Research Immersion Program is happening now. Participating teachers are spending 3 weeks studying biodiversity. This week, they are exploring sites around the Cache River and Fern Cliff. The focus is on environmental factors affecting oak and hickory forests. Next week, the focus will be on identifying tardigrades along the Big Muddy River. Murphysboro participants are April Bartnick, Matisha Green, Sharon Fry, Mallory Swafford, Michelle Asa, and retired teacher Julie Witzke. Kudos to these teachers who are going above and beyond to help better their profession and the education of our Murphysboro students.
Good. Thank you. That's it.
Is it?
Item number 9 is Freedom of Information Act request. It looks like we have a gentleman that had 4. and they were provided in a timely manner, so we're good to go. Item number 10 is the recognition of the audience. The Board of Education welcomes the audience to make public or employee comments. The board has set aside time in the agenda specifically for this purpose. Pursuant to Board Policy 2.230, each speaker shall be limited to a 5-minute presentation. Please be aware that while this is the time for the public to express its opinions and/or comments, the board may or may not comment regarding public presentations. If a matter of public comment warrants discussion or action of the Board of Education, such discussion or action will be added to the agenda of a future meeting. Are there any public concerns or comments? Are there any employee concerns or comments? Thank you all for being here. All right, let's move into old business. First is a district financial update. Dr. Evers, this is informational.
Obviously, Ms. Bush was very thorough in her kind of assessment of where we stand as a district. Last week I did make note that our PA system at the high school is functionally fairly obsolete. It got worse and worse as the season progressed, and we were having trouble understanding when Mr. Ellemeyer, who has a pretty clear voice, would call for the next heat and track meets, or if they were calling an athlete for having made a goal. So we will be updating and doing some improvements to that sound system so it's better. But really, aside from some of the work that we're approving tonight, the vans as well as the tractor bids and the chiller, pretty much staying the course, I would say.
On that, the speakers, is it from overuse, turning up too loud,
They-
old?
Or just old?
They're old
It's
and
been
they
there a
degrade.
while.
It's like,
So it's not stuff that's just been, it's not the speakers at the football field?
Yeah.
We didn't replace those with the field.
Ah.
They're the same
Yeah.
stuff. We've always put those back on the new press box.
And they thought it might have been 1 or 2, but then it was 5 or more.
I think it's Adam
Five.
Rain's fault personally.
She said Cody talked on it too at the track meet.
He blew them out with his
And-
volume.
and I thought we replaced that microphone with the new field or the box. I know that they tried to make some improvements to get reception from the referee up to the box for the microphone. I may have assumed that, and that's not right.
It's the
But-
same original system, it's 15 years old.
Okay, it is the same microphone, okay. Then, and the guy you're talking to knows his stuff.
Right.
He's excellent.
And he said he was surprised it lasted as long
Yeah.
as it did out there.
Yeah, he's a
That's
good
because we
guy.
take care of our stuff.
And it is wonderful that even though the timing, and there's tons of work that typically is already underway, he's going to work us in before the start of, football season, fall soccer, marching band season, drums at apple time. We're going to be hosting, or working on hosting a drum corps. Mr. Williams is working with a drum corps out of Sacramento to perform on our field, so hopefully all that will be completed, on or around the start of all those really kind of magical things, so.
Good.
Okay, next item is the approval of the amended 2020-2021 budget as presented in the special hearing, and I will entertain a motion to approve that.
So moved.
I'll second.
Mrs. Hines?
Mr. Beavers?
Yes.
Mr. Bang?
Yes.
Mrs. Brazel?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Evaldi?
Yes.
Mr. Rungy?
Yes, motion carries. Item number 3 is the approval of the van bid, which is enclosure number 1 in your packet. And I'll open the floor to any questions from the board.
That's a no-brainer.
We only got one.
Yeah, that's what, is it
We did on.
normal? I mean, obviously, right now, inventory is a huge issue.
It is,
And
and
so
this-
not a lot of people are wanting to throw deals out there because they
Right.
either don't have to or they don't have the inventory to.
And we were probably more general in the description and the bid specs than we have been in the past. Sometimes when we put them out, we want this, and this, a little, we want the 10 passengers, so, not as specific as what we've had in the past. And we only got 2 inquiries on the, when I put the bid specs out, advertised for those, and one really just wanted to know if we would accept the, bid for a multi-function white passenger bus, activity bus, and I said no, we just purchased the 2 of those. So this is the one we got from Marion, I think it was Landmark Ford, at a cost of $42,807.60 each. So the total will be $85,615.20. And one of the questions I asked was, you know, will the vans, can they be delivered by, and I said August 9th, and that answer was no, because there's just not availability. So the expected delivery date, 3 to 6 months, so we may not get them for a while.
And I would say that's a generous, we ordered in the summer and got them in February, like right before the pandemic. But that price seems, with it being a towing grade, seems pretty fair.
I think it came in under what we actually had, you know, had a number budgeted in our mind, so, yeah.
Any other questions from the board? Then I'll entertain a motion to approve the recommendation for the van bids.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Mrs. Hines?
Mrs. Evaldi?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Bame?
Yes.
Mr. Beavers?
Yes.
Mrs. Brazel?
Yes.
Mr. Rungy?
Yes, motion carries. Item number 4 is the approval of the maintenance tractor, which is enclosure number 2 in your packet. It looks like we had 2 there that were close.
We did get 2 local bids. We got one from Pappy's Outdoor in Marion, and then H&R Agri-Power, just down the road, I believe. And the low bid on that, $46,500, and we asked the same question, you know, about delivery date, because we looked for maybe mid-July, is that possible? Both said no, but HR Agri-Power, which is the low bid, estimated their delivery time at August 1st. So I would recommend, you know, that's still a pretty good time frame. The board approved that, request approval on the bid for $46,500.
Questions from the board?
So what are we using in the meantime? We had one that was a loaner tractor, that we were borrowing from them. We had one that was in the shop and we were borrowing one, and we weren't being billed for that. But I did have to add that tractor to our insurance on the meantime so we could live along, because, you know, graduation hit with the rain and the mowing season has gotten crazy, so we had to do something in the meantime, so.
So they're not charging us for that loaner right now? There you go.
Well, the first one they gave us caught on fire because it had a bird nest in it. It's totally not their fault. It was one. You know, I'm getting the text message, the tractor's on fire. I'm like, no. So,
Always check the turbo for those.
that's on the new maintenance checklist, by the way.
Any other questions from the board? And I'll entertain a motion to approve the maintenance tractor bid.
So, second.
Mrs. Hines? take your
Mr.
pick.
Green?
Yes.
Mr. Beavers?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Evaldi?
Yes.
Mr. Bame?
Yes.
Mrs. Brazel?
Yes.
Mr. Rungy?
Yes, motion carries. Item number 5 is the approval of the Murphysboro High School chiller bid. Looks like 4 requests were sent out. We got 2 back. Low bid was Heartland Mechanical at $75,500. Is there any questions from the board? I'll entertain a motion to approve it as presented.
So move.
Second?
Second.
Mrs. Hines?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Evaldi? Yes. Mr. Bame?
Yes.
Mr. Beavers?
Yes.
Mrs. Brazel?
Yes.
Mr. Rungy?
Yes, motion carries. Let's move into new business. The first item is the board packet, and this is from me, which is informational, which I've asked the board for a couple of meetings now for their input on what we want to receive in our packets and what we think is just excess and we don't need. I sent those results out to you today. And Mr. Young, I think you were also given a copy of this as far as what's going to be included in the future. So you have that in front of you. And what is not included in the packets that is now will be put in a Google Drive if you want that. So just let Mrs. Hines know and she can get that to you.
She's just planning on sharing it with the entire board.
Okay, that's fine.
So-
That's fine,
So
too.
everyone, if you wanna jump on.
That
and
way-
on the
that's a good idea. Yep.
The Google Drive, it will be archived, so you can look and like reference for.
I just want to be careful to use the word, the items that we don't need. I think they're still necessary to a complete packet, but we would like to not waste paper in printing them out to just glance over, you know, read them over and then never use them again. So I just want to clarify that for my own understanding of what you're requesting here.
Yep. I just know that that packet, as you can see, is thick. So, nope, yeah.
Got-
The lone shark out there.
I've got 2 years of board packets on here.
I'd still
Which
be
one would you
sitting-
like me to read to you?
I'd still be sitting at home waiting for mine to pull out.
That's true, too. All right, item number 2 is the approval of prevailing wage rate ordinance, which is enclosure number 3 in your packet. And I will open the floor to the board for any questions. How often do we do this yearly? This is
Annually, if the rates are available. We did have a year or two where they weren't publishing those rates, but I guess they're back to publishing the prevailing wage rates now.
And it's a legal requirement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is,
So.
it is.
Do we ever hire a marble finisher?
It's been a few years since we hired somebody to do any marble work.
My youngest loves marbles, so at $26 as a marble mason, I mean, I don't know if you'd be a mason or a finisher. I don't know.
We need to work on that.
No questions? Then I'll entertain a motion to approve the prevailing rate.
So,
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3 is the approval of fiscal depositories, which include the following: First Bank and Trust Murphysboro, First Southern Bank Murphysboro, the Illinois Funds Springfield, and U.S. Bancorp Fund Services of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and the Illinois School District Liquid Asset Funds, which is in Warrenville, Illinois. Any questions from the board? This is also an annual approval. And I'll entertain a motion to approve those depositories.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4 is to appoint the sub-treasurers as presented, which is Kim Kilpatrick at the high school, Holly Thompson at the middle school, Samantha Smith at Carruthers, and Emily Hahn at the general. Any questions from the board on those?
Those are the same as last year, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And I'll entertain a motion to approve those 4 as sub-treasurers.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5 is the resolution to transfer working cash interest to the education.
Take a screenshot.
Sorry, did I do that? I just started punching buttons. Sorry about that. There's a spam call anyway.
Probably your car warranty.
Yeah, it's exactly it. Transfer working cash interest to the education fund. I'll entertain questions from the board. My first question, Mrs. Bush, how much is that? How much are we transferring?
This year, I think it's a little over $1,000. I mean, it's
Wow.
not, it's just the interest that the working cash
Sure.
fund earns, and we transfer that to the education fund
Just
every
like
year.
0.0003%
Yeah,
or something like that?
and we're required, to do a resolution to do that.
Okay. Any other questions? Entertain a motion to approve the transfer. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6 is the resolution to transfer funds from the O&M fund to the debt service fund. Questions from the board?
And again, this is a requirement because all debt is required to be, all capital leases and the bonds are required to be paid from the debt service fund. So in the operations and maintenance fund, we levy for those leases, and then we are required to transfer the money then to that fund to pay the obligations from the debt service fund. So that also is a legal requirement in the school code that the board pass that resolution. So the journal entries have already been made, funds transferred, and just waiting for the approval from you.
Any questions? Then I'll entertain a motion to approve that transfer.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7 is the renewal of the property and liability insurance renewal and workers' compensation and school board legal liability and student accident, which I believe you handed out.
Yes, I did. We just received this yesterday, and I was a little worried that we weren't gonna receive it in time because there were last minute quotes going out, trying to secure the quotes for the reinsurance for the trust for the ISD property and liability. So it's kinda ugly, this year. We did have a decrease in our quoted student accident insurance, but that's really not a shock since most of our claims in the past have been, I would say, more high school related, typically athletics, some middle school, but since there's a lot less going on in the buildings this year, expect to see a decrease in that, so a 9% decrease. But then where we really took a hit, a $48,500 increase with our annual package renewal. So our property, liability, auto, school board liability, crime, and the umbrella is $48,500, which is almost a 23% increase. And I kind of explained that a little bit on the notes here, that, you know, that's really due. There's a small portion that's due to claims with our co-op, with our trust, but a big part of that is for those high claims. There are different levels of reinsurance that they secure, so those claims don't hit directly the trust. And because there are so many claims in the state and even in our country nationwide, earthquakes and fires and all the, you know, natural disasters, the reinsurance rates are just super high. So, you know, they're looking at automatically, you know, 20% as those levels of quotes came in. I'm now sitting on the board of ISDA, which kind of gives me early information on what's going on and maybe a clearer picture of how things work for us as a district. So I wasn't really surprised when Daniel called and said, "Oh, it's ugly, you're not going to like it." I said, "You know, we've kind of expected that." So also, we're neighboring districts and other co-ops are seeing the same thing with the reinsurance driving those rates up. So and the other thing, our treasurer's bond, we did have an increase, a 13% increase on our treasurer's bond, which at first I thought it's because it might have been a larger bond this year, but it's actually not a larger bond. We had to change companies. So Lloyd's of London had previously issued that treasurer's bond. They are no longer doing that. So sometimes shopping for companies to find someone else to issue those. So that's just costing us a little bit more to insure me and make sure that I don't, you know, go to Mexico or somewhere, which I'm not doing that. But work comp, we had an almost 12% increase, so a $26,000 increase there. And the issue there is just our claims. We've had, right now we have 8 individual claims that are really large claims that total $734,000. And so when we have that one large claim that's over $400,000, we're going to see those increases because we've generated those claims. So it's fair to come back to us. So that's it in a nutshell. Total increase, a little under $73,800, a 16% increase. So at this point, I would recommend to the board that we approve continuing on with ISDA and you know, workers' compensation trusts at these rates.
Questions from the board? And I'll entertain a motion to approve the renewal.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Mrs. Hines.
Mr. Beavers?
Yes.
Mrs. Evaldi?
Yes.
Mr. Bain?
Yes.
Mrs. Brazel?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Rungy?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, Mrs. Bush, for presenting that too.
You're welcome.
We have a need to go into closed session.
Make a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Section 2 of the Open Meetings Act, 5 Illinois Compiled Statutes 120/2C to review the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the district, including any testimony on a complaint lodged against the employee to determine its validity.
And I'll entertain a second.
Second.
Mrs. Hines.
Mr. Beavers?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Brazel?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Evaldi?
Yes.
Mr. Bain?
Yes.
Mr. Rungy?
Yes, motion carries. All right, 5 minutes.